A month before the wedding, I stumbled upon a post my boyfriend had written. Getting married soon, but having cold feet. Any tips for a painless breakup? Someone commented below, you posted about our 8-year relationship on this forum, and now you're saying you have cold feet? Daniel replied, not all of those posts were about her, and who says 8 years together means we have to get married? She's too clingy, what's wrong with me falling for someone else? That night, I spent hours deleting nearly 10,000 photos of us. Half a month later, Daniel's post was updated again, filled with panic. She seems to be pulling away. Is it too late for me to break it off now? I replied using my main account, too late. A month before Daniel and I were supposed to get married, he started working overtime tirelessly. We had planned a trip after the wedding. I had already taken a month off, but he didn't have that much vacation time, so he had to finish his work in advance. It was already 9 in the evening, and I was curled up on the couch, waiting for Daniel to get home from work while planning our travel itinerary on my phone. By accident, I clicked into a help-seeking post. Getting married soon, but having cold feet? Urgent. The bolded title caught my eye, and an inexplicable wave of irritation washed over me. There were countless posts like this, usually just a heartless scumbag seeking comfort online, nothing worth seeing. However, just as I was about to exit, I saw the poster's username. 2 bright characters, Daniel. My breath hitched. The next second, I couldn't help but zoom in on the profile picture. It was indeed my boyfriend. My fingers felt heavy as I frantically read through the post. Unfortunately, there was no more information. The post had been made an hour ago. His words conveyed urgency, not wanting to say another word. Someone commented below, what's the reason? Holy cow, wasn't I following a relationship blogger? Why this sudden post? If you don't want to get married, say so early. Don't waste the girl's time. Daniel didn't reply to any of these comments, except for one, but all your previous posts were about how much you loved her, right? You've been together for 8 years, does love just disappear without a reason? His blatant retort felt like a knife twisting in my heart. Who says 8 years together means we have to get married? She's too clingy, what's wrong with me falling for someone else? Slam, my phone landed face down on the couch. My heart was pounding, and I squeezed my eyes shut. No, it couldn't be. I must have seen it wrong. Daniel couldn't be cheating, couldn't betray me. We had such wonderful 8 years, this must all be fake. My mind was in chaos. It took me a while to pick up my phone again. I wanted to deceive myself by uninstalling the app directly, but my fingers couldn't resist, masochistically clicking on the post again. A few new replies had appeared under Daniel's comment, all question marks. It seemed the netizens, like me, didn't understand his thought process. I fumbled to switch to my main account, and sure enough, I didn't see the post on his profile page. He had blocked me. When I switched back, a girl's comment had been added to the post. Arrogant, passionate, completely unreserved. Before I met him, I never thought I'd be the other woman in anyone's eyes. Until I met him, I didn't care what anyone thought. My eyes lingered on that line of text, and my head buzzed. It felt as if all those years of education had been for nothing. My world crumbled. I don't know how much time passed, but I clicked on the girl's profile picture, and on her profile page, I saw countless photos of her and Daniel. At the movies, at dinner, even in a hotel. I felt all the blood drain from my body, and tears streamed down my face, uncontrollable. Because I knew this girl. Her name was Chloe. About half a year ago, Daniel had acted heroically and saved her. That night was also an evening. I was at home, and Daniel was out to dinner with friends. When I received a phone call from the police and rushed to the restaurant, Chloe was like a frightened rabbit, hiding behind Daniel with red eyes, clutching his clothes tightly. Daniel's face was covered in wounds. He was frowning but patiently comforting Chloe, don't be scared, it's over, don't cry. The police told me that a drunk man had harassed Chloe, and Daniel stepped in just in time. At that moment, my heart finally settled. I handled the subsequent matters, filled with pride for Daniel's actions. Back then, I naively thought, he's truly the man Grace loves, so brave, but I had overlooked Chloe's dependent, admiring gaze towards Daniel. Afterward, Chloe added Daniel's contact information under the pretense of thanking him, and I didn't pay much attention. Because we had been together for almost 8 years, he only had eyes for me and never had eyes for anyone else. I trusted him unconditionally. When we got home that night, I tended to his wounds with a heavy heart and reproached playfully, you should have just called the police. Why get into a fight? Now you're hurt. Daniel curved his lips into a doting smile, his gaze gentle. When I saw that Chloe being bullied alone, it reminded me of you. I thought, if I help her today, then someday when I'm not around, if something like this happens to you, someone will help you too. As his words fell, my heart melted, and I felt as if I was floating in honey. Over the next 6 months, we got engaged, prepared for the wedding, and were extremely busy. Naturally, I forgot about the incident. But I never expected that they had maintained contact all this time, never breaking it off. They had even reached the point of being in love. Daniel went to work during the day, but at night, he used overtime as an excuse, when he was actually with her. I haphazardly wiped away my tears, trembling as I made a phone call to Daniel. His phone rang for a long time before he answered, his voice as doting and gentle as usual. "Grace, what's wrong?" My voice hoarse, I asked, "Where are you?" He chuckled softly, "Overtime, of course. Are you hungry for a late-night snack? I'll probably be late tonight, so order takeout for yourself first." My breath caught. I was about to bring up the post. Then he quickly added, "Grace, someone needs me. I have to go. You be a good girl and stay home." Before I could say anything, he hung up. My heart felt like it was being pricked by needles, and the tears I had managed to hold back streamed down again. Through my blurry vision, Daniel's post had updated again. "I'm on a date, and she called again. If I don't answer, she'll video call. So annoying, it's ruined my mood." I spent the night deleting all the photos of Daniel and me, including the wedding photos we had taken recently. A total of over 9,000 photos, each one a story. Over 8 years, I had changed many phones, but the first thing I did with each new phone was import the photos. I used to complain to Daniel that there were too many photos, and importing them always took so much time, so we should delete some. But now that they were actually deleted, I felt a knife twisting in my heart. 8 years, that was 8 whole years. How did Daniel and I end up like this today? What exactly did I lack compared to Chloe? They had only known each other for 6 months. Could it really be true that the latecomer can surpass the original? In the early morning, the sky was turning pale gray outside the window, and Daniel finally came home. He saw me still sitting on the couch and was visibly startled. But after a moment, he smiled again. "Why aren't you asleep yet? Work was really busy yesterday, and I have to go back to the office today. Were you worried?" Saying this, he pulled out coffee and donuts as if by magic. "I bought you breakfast. Eat it and then get some sleep." Looking at his usual expression, a wave of grievance welled up inside me, and my eyes welled up. But before the tears could fall, I quickly lowered my head and subtly wiped them away with my sleeve. If I hadn't seen the post, I wouldn't have suspected anything, because was still as considerate as before, still as good as before. But this wonderful man had fallen in love with someone else. I took the donuts from his hand and placed them on the table without eating, then turned and went back to the bedroom. Daniel quickly followed, wrapping his arms around my waist from behind. "Are you angry because I've been working overtime a lot lately and neglecting you?" "Grace, I'm doing this for our trip. Please be understanding of me." His head rubbed against my neck, and he pleaded in a low, begging tone. It was hard to believe that just a few hours ago, he had said he regretted getting married. I asked as calmly as possible, "Daniel, do you regret marrying me?" The hand around my waist tightened, then he quickly turned me around to face him. "Why are you asking that? Did you regret it?" Saying this, he squeezed my face warningly. "Grace, you're mine for life. Don't even think about running away." I looked into his eyes and couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. Just as I was about to tell him I knew about his affair, his phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID, his expression changed, and he let go of me to answer it in the living room. From a distance, I heard Daniel's voice, tense and panicked. "What? You're in the hospital? Why are you bleeding?" I didn't use force. "Chloe, don't worry, I'm on my way." With that, he disregarded everything and pushed the door open, leaving without a word to me. As I heard the door close, my heart felt like it had been slammed shut. A moment later, I clenched my fists and chose to follow him out. I wanted to see what kind of power Chloe truly possessed. To silently destroy my 8 years in just 6 months. Daniel went to the hospital. I quietly followed him, unnoticed. In the hospital room, he clutched the medical report, his hands trembling uncontrollably. Chloe's next sentence plunged my heart into an abyss. "Daniel, I'm pregnant. What do we do?" Buzz, as her words fell, my mind suddenly went blank. Daniel remained silent for a long time. I stood outside the hospital room, my nails digging deep into my palms. After an unknown amount of time, Chloe couldn't help but speak again. "Daniel, didn't you say Grace was too clingy, and you couldn't stand it? Why don't you just come clean with her now?" I'm already pregnant, you can't possibly make me be the other woman forever, can you? Daniel's voice was cold, filled with helplessness and confusion. We always used protection. How could you be pregnant? Chloe gasped. You're not suspecting that I tampered with it, are you? Daniel, I'm only 22, and I'm panicking about this pregnancy too. The doctor said even condoms have a risk of failure. Maybe we just weren't careful enough? How can you suspect me? With that, she began to sob. You said Grace had no boundaries, always clinging to you regardless of the situation, so I never dared to call you. You said you'd find a chance to explain things to her, so I've been waiting for you. But now your wedding is only a month away, you still haven't come clean, and I'm pregnant. Aren't you going to consider me? Daniel frowned, his face extremely grim, remaining silent. Chloe grew anxious. Just as she was about to press him further, her peripheral vision caught my gaze. She panicked for a moment, but then quickly reacted, provocatively embracing Daniel and shouting hysterically, I don't care. This child is yours, and you can't shirk your responsibility. Daniel, I'll never leave you. Chloe was only 22, I knew exactly what she was trying to do. My gaze fell on Daniel's back, and my eyes gradually reddened. In that hospital room, it wasn't just Chloe, I was also waiting for his answer. After a long, deathly silence of several minutes, yes, Daniel let out a sigh. Give me some time, I'll figure something out. As his words fell, I clearly heard the sound of my own heart breaking. Taking one last look at Chloe's triumphant gaze, I pulled a self-deprecating smile and turned to leave the hospital room. My 8 years with Daniel were over. After returning home, I contacted a real estate agent to help me look for an apartment, as soon as possible. I wasn't impulsive. If I completely broke up with him and left now, I wouldn't even have a place to live. Since things were already like this, a few more days wouldn't matter. Once I understood this, I started packing my luggage. Daniel soon came back. Seeing me sifting through my clothes, he nervously averted his gaze. What are you packing these for? I smiled at him. I'll buy new clothes after we get married. I'm going to donate these. Although my answer was full of holes, he didn't pay attention. He just grunted oh, and returned to the bedroom, clearly annoyed. In the days that followed, Daniel left early and came home late, presumably spending his time with Chloe. I uncharacteristically didn't make a single phone call to him, and no matter how late he returned, I didn't ask a word. Soon, Daniel's post was updated again. I'm so tired. There are some things I don't know how to say. Now I realize there's a difference between liking and loving. When the novelty fades, the liking fades too. The comments section below was filled with mockery, curses, and sarcastic and snide remarks. Enraged, Daniel posted another message. I'm a normal man too. Looking at the same face for 8 years straight, what's wrong with falling for someone else? Chloe is young and vibrant, who wouldn't like her? I'm not a saint. I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh, clicked on his profile page, and scrolled down. Just 3 months ago, this account documented our daily lives. Our chat log, photos from our dates, and our wedding photos. Daniel had posted them all. His words were filled with joy. Grace is so cute, she says this cloud looks like poop, but she insists it looks like ice cream. Everyone, tell us who's right. Today found a stray cat in the neighborhood, but unfortunately, she's allergic to cat fur, so she couldn't keep it. We took the kitten for a checkup and found a new adopter. Grace is too kind. Received a homemade lunch from my girl while working overtime. What did I do to deserve such kindness? We're engaged, yay. No one's going to steal my girl. Getting married soon, but having cold feet? Urgent. My finger paused on this post. After a long moment, I let out a knowing smile. It's over, it's all over. I deactivated my burner account and soon received a phone call from Daniel. I thought he had finally decided how to break up with me, but when he called, he remained silent. Only his breathing was audible through the receiver. I spoke first. Something wrong? His voice was hoarse. Grace, I'm so tired. If it were before, I would have comforted him thoroughly, then made him dinner and cut him fruit. I wouldn't rest until I saw his mood return to normal. But this time, my voice was devoid of emotion. Daniel, life is hard, Daniel. Eases for the dead. He was stunned by my words, his breathing deepened. After a long pause, he said, Grace, can you come find me? I've run into some things and don't know what to do. You used to always be there for me at times like this. You also said that was before. I sighed. 8 years have passed. Everything's different, Daniel. With that, I hung up. Daniel called again, but I didn't answer. I didn't reply to his messages either. 2 hours later, my phone chimed. The app alerted me that a special notification had been updated. It was then that I remembered I had deactivated my burner account and switched back to my main account. When I clicked on it, I found it was a post Daniel had made. Perhaps he was too panicked, but he forgot to block me from this post. He seems to be pulling away. Could she have found out? Is it too late for me to break it off now? The comment section was filled with laughter, and there was even a comment from Chloe. Daniel, what is the meaning of this? I glanced at my packed luggage and confirmed that the apartment near my office had already been rented. Then, using my main account, I replied to his post. Too late. Within barely a minute, the post disappeared. Dan's phone started ringing like crazy. I calmly blocked him and called Catherine. Mom, the wedding's off. Cancel the reception. When came back, I had just hung up with Catherine, tears still wet on my face. She had scolded me for a long time, then burst into tears and yelled, "The wedding invitations have already been sent out. How can you be so irresponsible, breaking up just like that? What about the past 6 months we wasted? Grace, your father and I worked so hard for your wedding for so long. Do you think you're treating us fairly?" I didn't know if it was the constant suppression of my emotions lately, or if my family's accusations were simply unbearable. My emotions flooded. What about my 8 years then? What about my 8 years? That girl is even pregnant. Do you want me to endure this, endure it for a lifetime? Catherine froze, no longer speaking. Between anger and regret, I threw my phone down in a fit of breakdown. Just then, Daniel pushed the door open and entered. He was out of breath, clearly having run back. Meeting my gaze, his eyes instantly reddened. Grace, when did you find out? I calmly tucked my stray hair behind my ear. I knew for a while, I just never said anything. He panicked. Seeing the luggage scattered on the floor, he rushed to me and grabbed my hand. He didn't try to argue but spoke directly. Grace, I was wrong. I'll break up with her. Please, please don't leave me. I pulled a mocking smile. Didn't you regret it? Didn't you not know how to say it? Then let me say it for you, okay? Let's break up. Daniel's pupils constricted, and his face turned stark white. You saw all the posts? I was just making things up. Grace, we're getting married soon. No breakup, I won't break up with you. I bit my lip, staring intently at the man I had loved for 8 years. I never thought that a scene from a TV drama would appear in my life one day. I shook off his hand and sneered, but is pregnant, she's pregnant. How do you plan to break it off? Daniel's thin lips formed a straight line, then he dropped a bombshell. I'll explain it to her, tell her to get an abortion. Slap, as his words fell, my slap landed on his face without hesitation. His face was turned to the side from the force, and he stood stunned in disbelief. In all these years, it was the first time I had ever laid a hand on him. We had always been emotionally stable, rarely argued. Even when we argued, we never resorted to physical violence. Even when I discovered his cheating, I hadn't been this angry. But today, I suddenly felt like I didn't know Daniel anymore. He stood stubbornly, 5 finger marks on his face, looking at me defiantly. Grace, only the child you bear will be my child. No one else's. She and I were just a momentary novelty. Now I understand, you're the one I love. My chest heaved, a storm raging inside me. Hearing him say that, a chill ran down my spine. If he could treat Chloe like that, he could do the same to me someday. It was like a thunderclap in my head, making me understand everything. Fortunately, everything was still salvageable. Fortunately, I found this out before the wedding. This wasn't a bad thing, it was a good thing. Dragging my luggage, I looked at him expressionlessly. Daniel, we're over. Don't ever come looking for me again. With that, I bolted out the door. He tried to follow, but I stopped without turning back, speaking coldly. Take another step, and I'll only hate you more. I completely moved out and settled into the rent-ed apartment. In the adult world, there's no time for a breakdown. I only rested for a day before my boss called me in for work. While handling a contract, I was distracted and made several mistakes, which Ethan, from my team, noticed. He was making tea, his long fingers holding the cup, his movements casual and unhurried. Having an argument? I looked up at him, meeting his unwavering gaze. Before I could speak, he added, even if it's a breakup, it shouldn't affect work. I lowered my eyes and gave a bitter smile. Daniel cheated, and the girl is pregnant. Oh, thank you for saving me a wedding gift. You should have broken up ages ago. Ethan placed the cup on the table, his voice deep. I sat down, picked up the kettle, and poured water into the cup. Watching the steaming hot vapor, a wave of bitterness rose in my heart. Why was everyone so calm when they heard about it, while I was the only one hurting? My heart isn't made of stone. After an 8-year relationship, how could I walk away unscathed? Or was I too indecisive in love, just as Daniel said, someone who is so blinded by love, so much so that even after all these days, I still couldn't completely move on? Suddenly, Ethan grabbed my hand. I turned my head and found him looking at me with pursed lips. It turned out I hadn't noticed that the water was overflowing and about to scald my hand. Ethan's eyes were shadowed, his voice deep. There's a contract in Seaside that needs a team lead to go sign. Interested? Consider it a change of scenery. I glanced at the hand he held tightly, then lowered my gaze. Book the plane tickets. A few days later, I went to Seaside. I stayed there for 2 days and secured a 50 million contract. That night, after signing the contract, colleagues from the Seaside branch held a celebration dinner and insisted I join them. As a result, colleagues took turns making toasts to me, and a few hours later, I was quite drunk. Fortunately, with years of corporate experience, I discreetly excused myself twice to throw up, managing not to appear drunk. After sending everyone off, I sat outside, vomiting at the base of a tree. It was already past midnight, the moon hung high in the sky. In a haze, I thought I saw someone walking towards me. His shadow stretched long and thin under the streetlight, and he exuded a sense of melancholy. I cautiously looked up and met Daniel's eyes. His eyes were slightly red. He looked me over with concern, then stepped forward to help me up. Grace, you're drunk. I'll take you back. Get lost. I shoved him away, shouting furiously with the help of alcohol. I fled all the way to Seaside. Why are you still following me? Daniel, can you just stay away from me? He cautiously raised his hands. Okay, I won't come closer, I won't. Don't get agitated. Grace, I just want to apologize. What I did before was wrong. I shouldn't have been greedy for momentary novelty, or been blinded by Chloe and done something to betray you. Actually, I refused her several times, but she was too persistent, and I couldn't resist. Ugh. Before could finish speaking, my stomach suddenly churned, and I bent over, dry heaving. Disgusting, truly disgusting. His face suddenly turned pale. He instinctively reached out to help me, but when he met my look of disgust, he froze in place. I couldn't say a word, just vomited until I was dizzy. His eyes were bloodshot, tears welling up. Let's forget the past and start over, okay? You make it sound so easy. I laughed, mocking him. What if I went and slept with someone else for 6 months, got pregnant, and then asked if you could forget all that and start over with me? Daniel, if you can do that, then I'll reconcile with you right now. His hands, hanging by his sides, clenched into fists. He remained silent for a long time, until his phone in his pocket rang. He answered it, frowning in annoyance and growling, "Who is this?" Whatever was said on the other end, his frown deepened, and his breathing became heavy. After a long pause, he said coldly, "Get rid of the child. There's no way I'm marrying you. Chloe, this is my final warning." While I was on the phone, a man appeared beside me. He stepped forward to help me up. "Grace, don't worry, Ethan asked me to pick you up. He was concerned you might drink too much." Fearing I wouldn't believe him, the man even showed me his chat log with Ethan. I looked at it carefully several times before I felt reassured. I let him lead me back to the hotel. To my surprise, Daniel suddenly chased after us. He grabbed my hand defensively and said to the man in a hostile tone, "Who are you?" The man showed him the chat log again and patiently explained everything once more. Daniel pursed his lips. "No, even if Ethan sent you, I can't let you take Grace. She's my girlfriend. Get out. Get away. Get out." I suddenly broke down. All the emotions in my body collapsed like building blocks, no longer containable. My fists pounded on Daniel's body again and again. "Get out. I don't want to see you. If you don't leave, I'm calling the police." My sudden breakdown finally made Daniel feel a hint of fear. He let me hit him for a while, but eventually stepped back a few paces, allowing the man to help me and walk away, step by step. However, his gaze remained fixed on me, unwavering. I wanted to warn him not to follow me anymore, but my head was throbbing, and I could barely stand. Back at the hotel, I had no energy left for anything else and simply collapsed into bed and fell asleep. The man called Ethan to confirm I was safe, then left. That night, fueled by alcohol, I finally had a good night's sleep. To my surprise, the next morning, the sound of an argument outside my door woke me. My head aching, I pushed the door open, astonished to find Chloe and Daniel arguing in the hallway. Daniel had clearly been waiting outside all night, while Chloe looked disheveled, obviously having just arrived. My face darkened. Just as I was about to close the door and go back inside, I heard an impatient voice from next door. If you're going to argue, take it outside. People are trying to sleep. Daniel and Chloe heard it but showed no signs of stopping. I had no choice but to interrupt them with a cold voice. Enough. Come inside. Inside, Daniel sat on the couch, his face grim. Chloe stood in front of him, looking at me resentfully. I knew it. Daniel wouldn't suddenly tell me to get rid of the baby. You must have said something. How disgusting are you? You've already broken up, but you're still clinging to him. You're a slut, shameless. I narrowed my eyes, about to go hit her, when I heard Daniel's chilling voice. Chloe, don't think I don't know you secretly poked holes in the condom. Do you think that would make me marry you? That's pure fantasy. My feelings for you were just a fleeting novelty, a casual fling. The person I truly love is Grace. Chloe turned around, looking at Daniel in disbelief. You knew? Daniel narrowed his eyes, filled with disgust. Who could your little tricks fool? Thud, suddenly, Chloe unexpectedly knelt before Daniel. I jumped, unconsciously stepping back. Chloe cried, Daniel, I was wrong. Please forgive me, okay? Don't make me get rid of this baby. It's because I love you too much. I can't live without you, so I had no choice but to use this method. You're my savior, so even knowing you have someone you love, and that my behavior makes me the other woman, I just couldn't control myself. Daniel pursed his lips, his voice as cold as ice. Chloe, I truly regret saving you that day. People like you deserve to live in hell. Daniel was Chloe's salvation, her faith. So, when such harsh words came from Daniel's mouth, she almost immediately broke down. Love has no boundaries. I was just pursuing my own happiness. What did I do wrong? Daniel, Grace is wrong. That slut has been clinging to you, don't you remember? You said she was lingy, you said she was boring. If it weren't for her, why would you be so conflicted between the two of us? We would have achieved our happy ending long ago. Slap. No sooner had she finished speaking than Daniel suddenly slapped her. Chloe was knocked down by the force, her voice abruptly cut off. Daniel's strength was considerable. One slap made Chloe's lip bleed. His voice was icy. I'll give you all my savings. Get rid of the child. Chloe was still just Chloe. After all that talking and being slapped, she was completely humiliated and disgraced. Once she realized what happened, she got up crying and ran out. Daniel looked at me, like an abandoned puppy. Grace, did you see my attitude? I truly only love you. Everyone makes mistakes. I was just momentarily confused. Can you forgive me? Don't worry, I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I sneered, my voice squeezed from my throat. Daniel, how could I have ever fallen for you? The past 8 years, I must have been blind. Do you really think you can just push all the blame onto Chloe and get off scot-free? How disgusting. Get out immediately, or I'll call security. Daniel's face stiffened. He wanted to say something else, but eventually stopped himself. He got up and quietly walked out. But as he left, he still whispered, I won't give up. 2 days later, I returned to South Lake City from Seaside. Because I had closed a $50 million deal, the office threw a welcome back dinner for me. At the dinner table, Ethan sat beside me, thoughtfully blocking incoming toasts for me. He casually remarked, I heard Daniel went to Seaside to find you. My hand, holding my chopsticks, stiffened. I still nodded, yes. Thank you for arranging someone to pick me up that day. Ethan chuckled softly, well, I was the one who recommended you go to Seaside. If anything had happened, how would I explain it to management? I pulled a smile and served him a shrimp. Someone with sharp eyes at the table immediately started teasing, wow. Grace and Ethan have something going on. I saw it. Ethan blocked drinks for Grace, and Grace even served him shrimp. Grace, tell us, your sudden breakup with your boyfriend, does it have something to do with Ethan? My heart clenched. Before I could react, Ethan said coldly, don't talk nonsense. However, just as his words fell, the private room door was suddenly kicked open. Daniel appeared at the doorway, filled with rage. While everyone was bewildered, he rushed over and punched Ethan squarely in the face. Ah, screams echoed in the private room. Many girls ran out, while the men came over to pull Daniel away. Ethan was knocked to the ground, blood dripping from his mouth, looking very disheveled. The scene descended into chaos. Daniel, still being restrained, tried to charge forward, shouting, I've hated you for a long time. Damn it. Stay away from my girlfriend. Ethan got up from the ground, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with his thumb, and smiled. I'll take that punch, because I do like Grace. But I don't accept what you said. You two have already broken up. Daniel, if you lay another hand on me, don't blame me for retaliating. Daniel simply laughed in anger. I don't know where he found the strength. but he shoved aside the people holding him and tried to hit Ethan again. Enough! I yelled, unable to bear it any longer. Daniel, how much longer are you going to cause a scene? We've already broken up. His steps faltered. With red-rimmed eyes, he looked at me. The baby's already gone, Grace. Can't you just put this behind us? The moment his words died out, gasps echoed through the private room. A myriad of gazes landed on me, making me tremble uncontrollably. When the wedding was called off, I only told everyone we'd broken up. I hadn't disclosed the reason. Daniel's single statement undoubtedly put me in a terrible bind. Unable to bear it any longer, I pulled out my phone, intending to call the police, but my hands were shaking too much with emotion to unlock it. In my panic, Ethan covered my hand. Don't rush, let me. With that, he took out his phone and calmly called the police. Daniel watched the two of us, a layer of despair slowly surfacing in his eyes. Grace, are you truly unwilling to come back to me? Say another word, and I swear I'll lose control and kill you. I bit down hard, the metallic taste of blood filling my throat. Daniel's pupils constricted. After a long silence, he nodded awkwardly. Then he bolted out the door. The moment his figure vanished, my legs gave out, and I nearly collapsed. Thankfully, Ethan quickly steadied me. It's okay. It's all over now. Grace, he won't harass you anymore. Half a month later, 2 days before the scheduled wedding date, Daniel's mom called me. She tearfully described how Daniel had been wasting away at home, drinking every day and crying my name in his sleep. Crying, she pleaded with me to give her son another chance, to not be so cruel as to break up with him. I found his mom's WeChat and sent her screenshots of the online forum posts he had made. His mom never contacted me again. 2 months later, I applied to my office to be permanently based in Seaside. The day the contract came through, I treated Ethan to dinner. We were both adults. I wasn't oblivious to his feelings for me these past few days. But I was deeply hurt. If an 8-year relationship could end like this, I couldn't trust anyone anymore. Neither nor Ethan. At the dinner table, Ethan drank an unusual amount of alcohol. It wasn't until we were on the way home after the meal that he took my hand and finally said, "Can't you stay?" I smiled, gently pushed him away, and gazed at the scenery before me. Ethan, I finally understand what it feels like to despise a whole city because of one person. I can't stay in South Lake City. The thought of being in the same city as Daniel makes me sick. Even though it's self-deception, I can't ink straight right now. The only thing I can do is leave. Ethan, still unwilling to give up, tried to persuade me, but I changed the subject. I hear you're getting promoted. Congratulations. If fate allows, we'll certainly see each other again at the company's annual gala. Finally, Ethan said nothing more. We walked in silence. He escorted me all the way home, standing by the neighborhood entrance for a long time before leaving. And so, I moved to Seaside. A year later, I was promoted to supervisor and invited to the company's annual gala. After a few rounds of drinks, someone suddenly appeared beside me and pressed down on the hand I was about to use to drink. He handed me a transfer contract for a permanent position in Seaside. I looked over in surprise. Ethan's lips held a faint smile. Since you weren't willing to stay in South Lake City, I came to Seaside to find you. Grace, you're not getting away.